Hello and welcome to the Windows Active Directory Expert. If you're new to this channel, kindly go ahead and subscribe this channel. Like the videos and share the videos link with your friends who wants to scale up in the Active Directory. So in the previous session, we discussed about the lab guide, like how you can build your own lab, complex own lab in order to practicing the Active Directory labs. So in this recording session, I'm going to cover the FSMO role transfer. We call FSMO, flexible single master operation. So there are 5 roles in it, like schema master, domain naming master, RID, PDC, and infrastructure master role. So these two roles, uh, these above 2 roles, schema master and domain naming masters, are the forest wide. Means there would be one schema and one domain naming master in your forest, and these two would be replicated across all the domain in the environment. And these three, right, these three RID, PDC, and infrastructure master role would be domain wide. Means whatever the domain you will promote, um, these 3 roles would be added to them. So if you can see my screen, so here in the under the controller, this is my root. So these domain naming master and infrastructure master role would be here under this domain controller, and a part of these two, there would be other 3 domain-wide roles would be available over here in the contoso.com domain controller. And if I'll promote any child domain controller, like here in my case, I promoted as an child domain controller mail.contoso.com. So these three domain wide role would be added to this domain controller, wherein schema and domaining master would be unique for all the domain in the environment. So let's begin with the FSMO role transfer. So before I proceed with the practical, I just wanted to tell you the scenario, in which scenario we transfer the roles. So suppose there is a plan in your organization that you wanted to decommission or delete this domain controller. So and this particular domain controller holds the any one of the roles, right, in the environment. So in those scenario, we transfer the role to the another domain controller, which is this. Okay, so same goes to my lab as well. I got 2 domain controller under the contoso.com. So how you can check that? I quickly log into my domain controller, and just pay attention to this particular command. You can take a screenshot. This command is basically to show you like how many domain controllers you have in your domain. So you have to type nl test, okay, and then dc list, and then colon, then type your domain name, domain fqdn. Type, sorry, there is something wrong with the command. So let me clear this. Nl test, then colon ds dc list, and then colon contoso.com. Perfect. So you can take a screenshot or note it somewhere, note it down somewhere. This is very useful command. So nl test space slash dc list colon contoso.com. So this will show you like how many domain controllers you have in the environment. So right now you can see I got 2 domain controller under the contoso. So win 191 VN6U VN6 VN97Q.contoso.com is my PDC, and mail dc.contoso.com is my additional domain controller. Okay, so how you can check whether which domain controller holds all 5 roles? So you have to type the another command, which is netdom query FSMO. So this particular command will show you the machine name or the domain controller name which holds the you know all 5 roles, or it could be split to any other domain controller as well. So it will just list out all the domain controller which hold the FSMO role. In our case, we got only one domain controller which holds all 5 roles. So let me see in which domain controller we are logged into. So type host name. Okay, so we logged into the same domain controller. You can see here. And these 5 roles, schema master, domain naming master, PDCRID, pool manager, and infrastructure master, is being held by this particular domain controller. So how you can transfer the role? So there are two way of doing it. Okay, the first way is always GUI, and second way is that you can use the CLI command prompt to transfer the roles. So the first thing I will show you like how you can move the roles using GUI option, graphical user interface. So you have to go to run. You have to go to run and right click, go to run and type here domain.msc. Just make it note somewhere. This is short command to open the Active Directory domain and trust. Hit enter. Okay, perfect. So I got this Active Directory domain and trust open in my screen. So if I right click on the Active Directory domain and trust, if I right click here, so the third option, right? The third option is operation master. So if I click on the operation master, if I wanted to, from here you can transfer the domain naming master operation role. Okay, only one role you can transfer from here. So in the GUI option, you have to go different places to transfer all 5 roles. Okay, so in the Active Directory domain and trust, you will get an option to transfer only domain naming master role. So click on change option here, and since we are in the same domain controller, right? So if you wanted to transfer the domain naming master role, so you have to be there on the target domain. Okay, just keep in your mind. So one role I showed you like how you can transfer. The another roles, open dsa.msc. It will open the Active Directory users and group, and right click on the domain name, which is contoso.com, and then click on the operation master. So from here you would be able to transfer the all 3 domain wide roles like your RID, PDC, infrastructure. Okay, so if I click here, so remember guys, you always have to be on the target domain controller. How? I'll show you that. Okay, so if I'll go to the mail domain controller, uh, the additional domain controller that I have, and this domain controller does not have any FSMO roles in it. Okay, so let me log in. I will show you. Okay, so this machine I logged in. So I open the dsa.msc, go to operation manager role. So from here, right, you can see if I click on the change here, if I'll click yes, then it will quickly transfer this role, RID role, to this particular domain controller. So transferring the roles sitting on the GUI or using the GUI option, you always have to be on the target domain wherever you want these roles to be transferred. Just keep in your mind. Okay, so one important thing that I wanted to show you, like domain naming master, you can transfer it from the from the Active Directory domain and trust. Other 3 domain-wide role like RID, PDC, and infrastructure, you have to open the dsa.msc, means your Active Directory users and group. From here, you would be able to transfer these 3 domain-wide role, and to transfer the schema role, we have to register the schema DLL. Otherwise, you won't be able to transfer the schema role. Okay. So how you can do that? Right click here in the start, go to run, type CMD. Okay. So there is a command. First, we have to register it. Okay. Schema DL, we have to register. It's SVR32. And then we have SCHMMGMT.dll. Take a screenshot, guys. Hit enter. Okay, so I think I haven't mentioned reg SVR32. Okay, so let me type enter. Yes, as soon as you mention this reg svr32 space schmmgmt.dll and hit enter, it will pop up you the success message that this particular argument has been successfully registered the schema DLL. Click on OK and then type MMC, Microsoft Management Console, open it and go to File, click on Add Remove Snapping. From here, right, just expand it a little bit. See, you will be able to see the Active Directory schema. Click on Add, click OK. So now we have schema on the screen. Okay. So if I'll click here on the schema, click on Operation Master. So from here, right, we can transfer the schema master role, but always remember that you have to be on the target domain first of all. So for transferring the role from CLI, from the command line, it is not necessary you to be on that particular source domain or the target domain. There is no as such rules. Okay, so you can be sitting in any domain controller, but still you would be able to transfer your roles. How? I'll show you. So ntds util, okay, it's a utility that helps you to transfer the roles. So type ntds util and then type roles and then here type connection and then type connect space to then server, and then here you have to type the server name. So since I'll show you once, one second, let me open the dsa.msc. So if I go under the domain controller OU, so this particular domain, right, domain controller got all 5 roles, but I want to do transfer the roles to the this mail.dc domain controller. So how I can do that? Let's copy this particular machine name along with the fqdn, go to command prompt and paste it here and then type enter. So it just binded. You can see here the message comes as soon as I hit enter. Binding to maildc.contoso.com, connected to maildc.contoso.com using credential of locally logged on user. So from here you have, now we are connected to the maildc.contoso.com DC. Okay, now type quit. Okay, so now we are again back to the FSMO maintenance mode. So now type here transfer schema master. Okay, so there's something wrong with either this or there's something wrong with the spelling maybe. So for a schema, it's, I think, master transfer. No. So let me transfer PDC. Okay. So there was something wrong with the schema master. So I type in the PDC. If I'll click yes, it will transfer the PDC. Now let's click on the schema and then type master. Okay, so now we got an option to, it is just asking whether you wanted to transfer these roles or not. So I click on yes. So this way, using the transfer parameter, you can transfer the all 5 roles in the domain controller which you have binded initially in the ntds util under the server connection. Okay, just keep in mind and take this screenshot. So if I click on quit, since we transfer the 2 roles, right? So if I go and type the net dom query FSMO, then now you can see those 2 roles, right, which we transferred. Those 2 roles should be on the mail DC. So let's wait for that result to pop up. Okay, now you can see schema master we transferred, right, to maildc.contoso.com. Domain naming master still remain on the same because we haven't touched this particular role. PDC, we transfer it to the mail DC, contoso.com. RID pool manager, we can see it's remains same on the same domain control because we haven't touched this particular role, and same goes with the FSMO infrastructure master role as well. So this is how you can transfer your role. uh, if you have there is if there is any such scenario where you're about to shut down your server for certain activities, or your organization is planning to decommission or demote that particular domain controller, and that domain controller still holds some FSMO roles. So remember, these five FSMO roles are very critical and very important. They must be running in the environment in order for Active Directory to function properly. So thank you very much for your time and joining to this particular recording session. I'm hoping that if you haven't subscribed my channel at, kindly go ahead and subscribe it. And if you feel that this video is very informative to you, so you can go ahead and like this video as well. And also you can share with someone who wants to be master in the Active Directory. And I would be recording the next session today regarding the sieging process, like how you can do the sieging uh, for any DR activity. Suppose your domain control, the main domain controller which hold the all five roles is suddenly got broken or down, right? And there is no chance that server will ever uh, comes up. So in those scenario we perform the seizing. Okay, we seize the role, five FSMO roles. So I would be recording the FSMO role seizing process as well in the next recording session. So till then, bye bye, thank you. And once again, thanks for coming to this channel. Hope you had got very informative things from this particular recording session. Thank you very much and have a great day ahead. Bye. Thank you, guys.